look at this diet cycle. Let me get a drink here first. So what happens, look at about 10 o'clock on this diet cycle. We feel guilt or not enough or insecure, and we think, I know the solution to this. Maybe we see a picture from an event and we think, oh, I don't look good, or maybe our pants are getting too tight or whatever it is. And then we feel some sort of insufficiency. And we think, I know the solution. I'm going to start a diet. So you start the diet and you restrict. And this could be in the form of calories. This could be in the form of food groups. This could be, I mean, how many diets have you done over the years? Counting points. I mean, well, all the things. I mean, how many diets have you done over the year? Can you guess? Like, what number would you throw out if you had to come up with how many diets that you've done, or how many times you've done that diet and then not done it and then done it? I mean, dozens for many of us. So you restrict, but then pretty soon you start to feel deprived, not enough. So you start to crave it, and then you give in, meaning you start to eat all the things you felt deprived from not eating. And then you feel guilt. And then you know what happens? You think, I know the solution to this guilt. I need to go back on the diet, because when I start the diet and restrict, I might release weight. Like, I might release adipose tissue. I might release stored energy off my body. But what happens is the motivation that's caused you to go to start the diet is guilt. And this is where we need to dismantle. Over the next 3 days, we're dismantling this whole cycle. I don't want you to diet ever again, but we have to pull these different parts and pieces out, and I have to show you what to put in its place. So if you're at a place where you know dieting doesn't work long-term, you know that there's like short-term success. There I am with the air quotes again, sorry. You might bring short-term success, but it has not brought you long-term success. And it's because of this cycle. So I'm going to dismantle this with you over the next couple of days and show you what to put in its place. So I'm saying stop using guilt and other similar shame, other types of emotions like that to make changes in your life. Instead, whatever emotion you're seeking, you need to learn to generate that right now. And this is simple. I know you think, well, can I feel some way that I don't actually feel? And this is not a fake it till you make it. That's not what it is. I'm going to explain further. But if you already are completely accepting of your body and love your body, guess what happens? You show up and care for her differently. And this showed up for me. So remember when I got on my knees and prayed to God, right? I talked about that. And he said, keep going, Kerrie. Well, within just a few weeks of that experience, I found myself staring in the mirror of that same, of the bathroom, the master bathroom of that little rental house. And I was staring at myself. But usually I'd be looking at I had just gotten out of the shower, I was about to get in. And usually I'd be looking in the mirror with this one focus of what's wrong? What should I change? I would be better. My body would be better if she would look this certain way. And don't get me wrong. It's not that I didn't appreciate my body. So mine was kind of more covert. It was like, I appreciate my body. She's great. I'm able to have kids. I'm able to, be active. I appreciate my body, but she'll be fantastic. And I'll really like her when she weighs this amount, or when she wears this size jeans, or when okay. This is so toxic. This is such a toxic way to think and interact and just view our bodies. And the reason for this is, think of any relationship that you have in this life. Any other relationship. Think of a mother-child relationship. We just had Mother's Day, so that's fresh on my mind. And I have 6 kids, so I'm always thinking about children and being a mother. If a parent viewed their child the same way that we're taught to view our bodies from diet mentality, it would be like, hey, daughter, I'm thinking of my daughter, Danny, who's 9, and she loves to pretend, and she makes she will deconstruct a whole room and create this scene for this imaginative play that she does. And if I said, you're great, Danny, and I love you, but mommy will love you and appreciate you so much more when you don't make messes. I mean, that's the very definition of circumstantial conditional love. That child, if I were to tell her that, it's going to create some trauma. It's probably going to create some effects of trying to be perfect, of trying to earn my love, of trying to, right? Or just full on rebellion, because why even try? It's a toxic relationship. And so no wonder that we experience this with our bodies. This is an emotion chart. I use this within my program. So there's baseline, just kind of a base neutral emotion in the middle. Everything above baseline is what I call a high frequency emotion or an upward spiraling emotion. And everything below baseline, I call a downward spiraling emotion or a low frequency emotion. Emotions are the fuel for which we take all action in our lives. We can't not. Even if we're pretending not to feel a certain way, it's still coming from the emotion. Like if I'm angry but trying to pretend that I'm not, I'm still taking that action from that anger, right? So all of our actions come from emotions. And if we're feeling guilt, if we're feeling shame, if we're feeling hopeless or worthless or inadequate or resentful or insecure, if those are the emotions, if those are the emotions that are fueling any actions that we're taking because of different results or because we want to experience our body a different way, guess what happens? You might create a short-term change, but those types of emotions do not have the kind of quality to create long-lasting results. It's kind of like the parent who's like, do that or else. They might comply for a short period of time, but they don't become someone who wants to do that thing innately because they desire to do it, because they've been taught and trained out of love. They're doing it out of fear for a short term. And as soon as the back is turned, or maybe they're old enough, they're not going to do that thing. It hasn't changed them. So it's no different when it comes to our bodies. And this was the experience I had looking in the mirror that day. So I'm looking in the mirror, and usually I would be picking my body apart, but I was looking at myself differently. I mean, I was really in this period of like change. I wanted to stop thinking about food and all of the fitness stuff that I'd been obsessing over for years. But God said, keep going. But I'm like, I can't sustain what I've been currently doing. Something needs to change. And as I'm looking at my body and I was looking deep into my eyes, I had this huge aha moment, this big shift. And it was this: as I'm staring in this mirror, looking at myself in the eyes, I realized I'm not my body. Everything I'm seeing is not me. I'm looking deep into my eyes and I can tell that I am housed within my body. But at some point in this life, as I travel throughout, as I journey throughout time here on this earth, at some point, my body and me will separate. That's called death. And I will continue on, but my body will not. Now, I believe in resurrection and so forth, but this isn't a Sunday school lesson. I'm not my body. I existed before my body and I will exist after my body, but my body is not me. Well, if I'm not my body, then who is she? It was this huge aha moment. And I was just filled with this overwhelming love for my body. I stopped picking her apart. I stopped being like, yeah, you're great, bud. All of that went away. I stopped saying like, I stopped weighing myself and being like, oh, we're up a few pounds. I guess we're going to wear loose clothes today. I stopped thinking, oh, you're this or because I used to fight against my body. I used to think if my body would just cooperate, I could finally be enough. But I stopped that because God taught me that day, looking in the mirror, this huge shift. My body's not me.